Welcome back for the last C# web tutorial I have for you this semester, unless I plan another one. In this we actually work with several different topics. One is the string, which we already worked with previously, multiple forms, and the date. Let's start with the multiple forms. If you notice right here, I have the regular form that we've always had. What I did on the project was right click, go to Add, Windows Form. And when I did that, this form got added. And what I did is I renamed it, as I always do, properly by right-clicking and doing rename. And I named it Form About, and it went through and changed it. I added a label to it. And that label is called Label About. And I click, and look, I can do multiple lines in a label by just hitting the Enter key. Okay, so let's go back to the project. So I have two forms. This is the startup form. When I click on the About, what I do is I say Form, which is an object. I give it a name. I can name it anything I want. Equals new Form About. This is where this name has to be put here. If I called it another name, I would have to put that name here. And what I do is I then say, take this form that's loaded in memory and referred to as this name, show it. Let's put a breakpoint there. I click About. It's going to load that other form into memory and give it this name. And then I refer to it by this name. This is kind of like just declaring a variable of this form type. We step through the code. Notice that form got loaded in memory. It's going through its startup. And here's how a form gets loaded in memory. I thought you'd like to see it. It's loading it up. And I hit 5. This is a method. And look, I got this form and this form on top of it. This is show dialog, which means I can't get back to this one unless I close this one. I'm going to wing it real quick and create another one just to show you how it works. Come up here. I'm going to add Windows Form. At the speed of lightning, it should add the form as I'm patiently waiting for it. And this is a good opportunity for me to tell you I hope you enjoyed C#. I know a lot of you took this course because you had to take it, but I hope you learned something out of it and have appreciation for how software is written. Remember, software is for everything: games, internet, web surfing, security. So we want a new Windows form, and I give it the name. I call it Form Sample. Okay, and there it is. And then I'm going to come back to here in the About. I'm going to declare another form. I'm winging this, so there's a good chance it may not work. And we're going to call it Sample using camel notation, Sample Form. And notice the name has to be exact. And then I say, and instead of, oh, not About, Sample. Instead of doing a dialog, I will do a show. Okay, so let's run this. Let's hope it works. Like I said, I'm completely winging this. Okay, I'm not going to step through the code. Notice that comes up, and I can't click here until I close this one down. And we move on to this one. And notice I just say show, not show dialog. And what should have happened is I have two forms. Here's the form sample, and here's the regular form, and see, they're independent of each other. I can move them around. By doing the show means I can go to either one of them. Okay, let's stop the program. Okay, I don't need this, so I'm going to remove it from the project. And I say OK. And then of course I got to get rid of all references to here. What I'd like to bring your attention to now is the string. Whatever you type in here, we're going to use methods to manipulate it. And fortunately, we've been introduced to the string object before. We take what was in the text box and put it into a string to work with. And we put it to the list box on the screen. And then we trim it, get rid of some spaces on it. Notice this is called nesting. I convert it to uppercase and then I trim it. I can do this. I can keep adding dots to it if I wanted to. I then can get its length if I wanted to. See how I can keep adding to it by hitting the dot, but I'm not going to. I say replace I with we, and then I go through and I treat the string as an array. Remember arrays? We take the name of the string and use square brackets to get to the first character, the second and third and the fourth. Let's try this. So I'm going to put into here when it runs, I love C#. I'm going to put some spaces, exclamation point, exclamation, and a couple more. Hit the string object, or button I should say. We get its length. We trim it. We convert to uppercase and trim it. We replace the I with we. And then we go through and we get each character one at a time. Until there's no more characters. Notice we start 0 and we go to 1 less than the length, which is 14. So 0 through 13 we process. We are on 9, so I got a couple more. 10, 11, 12, 13, and we should be done. There we go. Take this, I get the length. Notice I trim it, I convert to uppercase, I replace the I with we, and I process each character one by one that way, kind of like an array. I'm going to show you something super cool. It's called a tooltip. And what should happen, which is not doing right now, when I hover here, see how this comes up and I tell you a valid date to put in? Let's see how I did that and let's go look at the code. A couple things to make this happen. The first thing I had to do was, let's get to the design, is I had to add to my project, let's stop running this because I can't debug, don't want to do that. I want to stop running it, so I hit the stop. Okay, notice I go to the toolbox, and in here I want a tooltip. See right here? And I drag it onto the form. And then I come over here, and here's the tooltip. Just pretty much nothing fancy. I just had to drag it from the toolbox to here. On the form load, I create a string saying what the valid formats are using the new line. Remember, that puts it down this way, not this way. And then what I do is I say, show this tip when I hover on the text date text box. It's that easy. Drag a tool tip onto the form, come to the form load, build the tip that you want, link the tip to the text box or the object when you hover on that you want to come up. Isn't that exciting? So now we're almost close to the end. Let's go look at this date code. I have two dates. I have a couple dates I work with. One is called date 1, one's called date 2, 3, and 4. 1 is whatever the user enters in the text box, I'm going to attempt to convert to a date, and I have exception handling for that. The second date takes 1996, February 29th, and creates a date. And then this one creates a date based off, and I'm calling a method to instantiate the date. This is the year, month, day, hour, minute, second, and date 4 we have yet to use. So look what happens is I instantiate two dates based off the values here. I instantiate date 1 by what the user enters, and we play around with them. We add them to the list output box. We get today's date and time by date time now put into date 4. Okay, we add to list box, and then we set it to today. I'm going to show you the difference between .now and .today. And right here I take date 1 and I say what's the day of the week, and this one I ask if it's a leap year, true or false, and here I add 9 months and here I subtract 9 months. So we can do date addition. Isn't that exciting? So let's do this. So we're going to come down here, I'm going to hover, and see here's how my tooltips come up. We're going to enter in some date. I will enter in January 1st. Remember, it shows us with the tooltip what the formats are. So I can enter in any of these formats and it will work. I'm going to enter in 01, 2014. And I'm going to click the date. And look, we're going to try converting. and it works. We put it up there. We work with it. The dot now and then dot today. And then we ask what day of the week the day I entered in is on. Is it a leap year? Add 9 months to it, subtract 9 months. Here we go. I put in 1/1/14. Here's the date. Here is the second date in the code and the third date. These happen to be my son's birthdays. Okay. Here's the now, which has today's date with the time component. The today just has the date, no time. It will tell me 1/1/2014 is a Wednesday. It is not a leap year. 9 months from January 1st is 10/1/2014, and 9 months back would be April 1st. So just say I decide to party too much on New Year's Eve. Perhaps I may end up with a child on October 1st, and that's just a joke. I hope you enjoyed it. And that's all I have to show you for now.